Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play? Ha! Thank you for joining me, Sean Patrick Erschen, in the Horror Corner. This week we are taking a look back at the first entry in a now legendary franchise. And that is Child's Play. The first appearance of our old friend Chucky. The killer doll from hell, if you will. And we start off the film with Detective Mike Norris, as played by Chris Sarandon of Fright Night and Princess Bride fame. So he's chasing down a notorious serial killer by the name of Charles Lee Ray, also known as the Lakeshore Strangler. And as they have a big gun battle in the middle of the streets, Charles Lee Ray finds he seeks refuge in a toy store, so he shoots out the door and breaks into the toy store just to hide out. And he has an idea as he gets shot several times by the detective, that he finds this doll. He knocks over a big pile of dolls that fall on the ground, and he has a bright idea, and he takes one of the dolls out of the box, and he puts his hand over the doll's head and starts saying a bunch of passages that sound like some kind of black magic or a voodoo spell, if you will. And all of a sudden shit starts flying everywhere, and lightning comes from the sky, and all hell breaks loose, and the shit blows up, the whole building blows up, and the detective goes flying in the wind. And but he somehow manages to survive, of course. But of course Charles Lee Ray is killed. However, we do next scene, we meet young little Andy, who's a child who's really into this doll called the Good Guy doll. He watches the TV show on television. He buys the cereal, eats Good Guy cereal. This kid's like obsessed. He dresses like the good guy. He's bordering on a little crazy, you know. Like a little obsessive much. But his mother is working hard trying to make ends meet. Her name is Karen Barclay. And she works at a department store, and she's trying to save up money to buy her son the Good Guy doll. And I guess the Good Guy's dolls come in all kinds of different names. The one we know, of course, is Chucky. And so eventually she saves up enough money to buy young Andy the Good Guy doll. And so Andy becomes real obsessed with the doll and starts talking to him all the time. And the doll does talk a little bit. He has like 3 catchphrases. And Chucky starts talking to him and starts saying stuff like, I really want to watch the news on TV. And he tells his mother that, well, Chucky wants to watch the news on TV. And she's like, Chucky's a doll, you know. And then soon enough, she finds Chucky lying in the living room with the TV on. She's like, and she starts yelling at Andy, I told you not to turn the TV on at night. And she's like, Chucky told me to do it. And then one night, Karen's friend Maggie is babysitting Andy, and she ends up getting killed by the Chucky doll. She gets killed smashed in the head with a toy hammer, and gets knocked out the 10-story building and falls to her death. And Detective Mike Norris stops by and to question everyone, to question the child Andy, to question Karen, and he finds out that there were little footprints at the murder scene. So he starts questioning Andy and thinks that he might be involved in the murder of Maggie. And he takes into evidence the little toy hammer as a possible murder weapon. And the other detective's like, what is this? You know, he puts the little toy hammer in the evidence bag. It's funny. But yeah, so they bring the young boy in for questioning in the murder, and he denies. He just says Chucky did it. And the mother starts yelling at him, "What are you talking about? Chucky did it. Chucky's a doll. You know that, right? You realize that." And she's like, "Okay, whatever you say." So when she finds that out, she starts. Once Karen starts getting nervous about Andy being questioned so much in the murder investigation, Karen starts trying to talk to the doll. Maybe my son's right. And then she laughs, "Oh, it's just a doll." But then when she looks in Chucky's box, the box that he came in, she finds that the batteries are still inside. So then she inspects the doll and looks in the back and opens up the battery pack cover. Sure enough, no batteries. And as soon as she finds that out, she's like, "Damn it, start talking." So she starts shaking the doll. "Talk to me, damn it." And she threatens to throw him in the fire and lights the fireplace. And threatens to throw him in the fire if he doesn't talk. And that's when he comes to life. He's like, "You stupid bitch, I'll teach you not to mess with me." And and he bites her. He actually bites her. And then he takes off and runs out into the street. And then he goes after his accomplice who left him there at the beginning of the movie by the name of Eddie Caputo, who was his partner in crime when he was Charles Lee Ray. So he decides to take his revenge for him just leaving him there for the police to catch him. And so he's messing with the dude, trying to talk to him, stalking him through the house, scaring him. And as soon as the guy grabs his gun to try and shoot Chucky, he bashes in the kitchen door, and he finds out that the stove is open, and he shoots at it, and the entire house blows up, killing him, of course. And then Karen goes and tells the detective, "Chucky did it, Chucky did it. He's taken the soul of Charles Lee Ray. Don't you understand?" And of course the detective just laughs at him, thinks she's nuts. Until, of course, he gets away in his car and starts driving off, and Chucky's in the back seat trying to strangle him. "Hey, asshole!" And then Karen decides to investigate Charles Lee Ray's home to see if she can find any evidence there. And she finds out that Charles Lee Ray was into all kinds of black magic and voodoo and occult stuff. And she thinks, yeah, maybe he used some kind of voodoo spell on Charles Lee Ray so that he could inhabit the doll. And of course that's exactly what happened. And then we cut to Chucky, who actually finds a voodoo priest, the same one that told him how to do that, taught him all the spells and taught him the rites of voodoo and black magic and stuff. And the voodoo priest tells him, the more you inhabit the body of the doll, you start to become human the longer you're inside him. So when Chucky finds that out, he finds a voodoo doll laying on the floor of the voodoo priest, and he starts breaking the arms on the doll and stabbing it. It's like, tell me a cure for it. What can I do to break the spell? And then the voodoo priest tells him, well, you have to transfer your soul into the first person that you made your appearance known to. The first person that you made your presence felt, that you transferred the spirit. And so that's what Chucky tries to do. He goes back to Andy's house, because Andy, of course, was the first person that he showed his real side to. So once Chucky does that, it's funny, he goes back to the apartment and takes the elevator up to where Andy lives. And some old lady who lives in the apartment goes to take the elevator and sees the doll just sitting there. She's like, wow, what an ugly doll. And as soon as the elevator goes up, you hear, fuck you. I love that part. It's hilarious. So as soon as Chucky catches up with little Andy, they have it out. And Chucky does get him. He whacks him with a baseball bat and knocks Andy out. And he starts putting his hand over Andy's head and starting the voodoo rites and the voodoo rituals, saying the passages. But before he can finish, of course, Karen catches up with him. And she has it out with Chucky, and Chucky tries to bite him, and she throws him into the fireplace and locks him in, and little Andy lights the match and throws the match and starts the fire and burns Chucky. And Chucky's trying to say, no, Andy, we're friends until the end. And Andy's like, this is the end, and as he flicks the match at him. But I love this film, guys. By the way, I gotta say, it's so much fun. And of course, this started a whole franchise. It was a big hit. It was a very low-budget film. But I love how they do the effects, too. I'm not sure how they did the effects of Chucky. I don't know if it's stop-motion animation. Yeah, there's some scenes where you see it's like obviously a little kid and dressed up like Chucky running around in the background. But certain scenes, it looks really cool, like with some kind of animation, and it looks awesome. I don't know if it's like a puppet. It's probably a mix of both, stop motion animation, maybe puppeteering. I'm not quite sure, but I'd love to find out how they did the effects of Chucky. It's really cool. But at any rate, Child's Play is such a fun movie and a fun franchise, and I love it. So definitely give Child's Play 2 devil horns up. So thank you guys for joining me in the horror corner. Tune in and stay scared.